Dear students, it is the fourth video for week 15, lecture 30, and we are discussing the infrastructure and social development in the country. As I explained in the video third, that Pakistan remained under serious tests by multifarious factors like war, conspiracy, corruption, struggle for the power within the country, and illiteracy. They remain the major confrontations for Pakistan in development, the infrastructure and the social development. However, Pakistan has made excellent contributions in economy, agriculture, education, defense products, and too little in the international peacekeeping. Well, in short, in this video, we are covering the economic indicators that express the potential and the weakness of Pakistan into different structural sectors, and they include transport, power sector, education sector, medical sector, water and sanitation, population, and financing the infrastructure. Plus, we'll express some iconic uh, projects which have exerted a very healthy impact on the lives of the people, and they have been successful in facilitating the people to some extent. Pakistan is highly or thickly populated country, and thereby it requires more transport and communication facilities, and transport sector amounts to 10% of the country's GDP and 22% of the gross fixed capital. Transport sector provide 2.3 million jobs in the country, and it is about 6% of the entire employment, and country receives 12 to 15% of funds from the transport sector from federal public sector development programs, and transport sector consumes almost 35% of the total energy in Pakistan. Pakistan has a little better transport sector now. About 80% of Pakistan's total traffic is being carried by 9,574 kilometers long national highways and the motorway networks. While similarly, Pakistan is uh, conducting different kind of economic freight services and other things through these well-developed roads. Well, port traffic means the traffic that takes products or goods from the seaports and the dry ports and then dispense or distributes it into the different parts of the country. Port traffic in Pakistan grows at almost 8% annually in the recent years. About 90% of the all international trade made in Pakistan is being handled by the two major ports, Karachi and Port Qasim. Port Gwadar is now to some extent is functional, yet it is not fully functional owing to some geopolitical situations. However, Pakistan and China are committed. Almost 14 dry ports are to help the Pakistan transport system. Then Pakistan Railway is one of the broad and the very invaluable means of transportation for Pakistan. Pakistan is connected through railway from different portions like Punjab, KPK, Balochistan, Sindh. They are all connected through the railway. However, the railway has not been given the due attention. The major reasons of the incompetency, lack of will, mismanagement, corruption, they were the major causes in loss of the railway. In freight services, Pakistan had 36 operational airways. Pakistan's International Airlines PIA used to be one of the best airlines of the world, but that is the story of past. Unfortunately, for last many years, Pakistan International Airlines is facing huge deficit. The reasons are the international market, competition, lack of resources, mismanagement, corruption, and many other factors have contributed in the dwindling of this very precious national asset. However, it is the government should take serious action to revive these two departments, railway and PIA, so that the people may find the best quality transportation. Power sector, again, the power sector in Pakistan remained under pressure. WAPDA, KESC, NAPRA, PPIB, these are the departments working under the government, and they are producing most of the thermal power for the industry and the domestic use. WAPDA produces 66.5% electricity through different power generation sectors. About 13 million customers, out of which 22 millions are household, are connected with WAPDA. 55% of the total population is estimated to have access to the electricity. However, the private sector IPPs also provide 30% share in the power production. However, this sector is also directly linked with the political and the economical development of the country. Since the industry and the domestic lives are duly channelized by this sector, the power generation is the demand of the day. Unfortunately, in last couple of decades, the political situation in Pakistan remain uncertain. Sit-ins, demonstrations, political rift, and also the establishment intrusion in the process of country also have affected these major resources. Pakistan needs more resources and have to work on the dams like the Amir Pasha, Kalabag Dam, and other dams so that the shortage be overcome and more energy be provided to the industrial sector to compete with the international. Well, education sector, almost in education sector, Pakistan has contributed a lot. Over 55% of the population is educated. But unfortunately, the budget for education has never been enlarged. However, some very good projects have been introduced in Pakistan, like laptop provision scheme, some uh, building new universities and hostels, especially in Musharraf era. The education was streamlined. People were sent to the foreign universities for doctorate. High incentives were offered to the people. But later on, the education shrinked. It is a common complaint of the government that whatever they have spent on the people for higher education, the people have not returned it to the nation as wisely as they could. And secondly, more and more people attracted to the education industry, and soon the saturation happened. Now the people having degrees finding jobs. Thereby, it is much better that the technical education up to the latest requirements and the international market be produced, provided, and experts should be produced so that Pakistan may compete with India, Bangladesh, and other countries in the international market. As you all know, that remittances, tarsilat, the money the Pakistani workers uh, sent to Pakistan, is a huge source of the Pakistani economy. Well, medical sector, as we have expressed in the previous discussions quite precisely, that medical sector is very crucial one. People are facing and falling into different kind of short term and long term venereal diseases. Infectious diseases are very common in Pakistan due to illiteracy, lack of knowledge and guidance, lack of medical facilities, untrained doctors, faulty medication, self medication, no check and balance over the health sector. Precious lives are being lost in this. According to a previous survey, Pakistan has almost 972 hospitals, 1 lakh 44,901 doctors available. But now, since the medical private education and medical sector is introduced, more doctors have been produced. Fine. Dispensaries are estimated 4,842. Dentists were 10,508. Basic health units 5,344. Nurses were estimated over 70,000. And similarly, the health condition in Pakistan is quite under pressure. And however, Pakistan have contributed a lot, that almost a lakh lady health workers are providing basic health guidance and medication to the people, to the women in the uh, rural areas. However, some better health contributions were made by the government of KPK under the present government. Health cards have been issued to the poor people where they have the facility to get medication from the hospitals. Well, now comes the water and the sanitation sector. Water and sanitation sector is another crucial sector in Pakistan. As we all know that water is the greatest need, and Pakistan is one of the leading countries where the economy and the domestic life is heavily dependent on water. But unfortunately, the sanitation system is not made proper. The village and the towns are built in old times, and the sanitation issue remains consistent. Fine. The big cities like Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Karachi, they are provided with the best water systems through different dams, but the other cities are dependent on the canal water or mostly underground water. And unfortunately, the underground water is full of arsenic and causing lots of infectious diseases. They are called waterborne diseases in Pakistan. Thereby, you find liver issues, malaria, hepatitis, typhoid, common problems being dealt in the hospitals in Pakistan throughout. Well, sanitation problem is another view. Since people throw the garbage on roads and there is no disposal system except in the few cities, the garbage heaps create a double-edged problem. In times of rainy seasons, these garbage block the drain and the water flowing system, and resultantly an artificial flood happens, and sometimes it is worse than the real flood. For example, Karachi remained under the serious issues of sanitations, where most of the areas like Liari and others became flood frequent areas, plus the people had to face lots of infectious diseases owing to the floods. Pakistan is facing another challenge of exceeding population. Population is going beyond the control. Although government of Pakistan is trying to educate the people to have children according to their resources, yet this is not an easy task. Thereby, growing population needs more housing, food, education, and medical facilities, which is a constant pressure over the economy. Financing infrastructure of Pakistan is not good enough because most of the programs, be it motorways or education and others, they are based on simply uh, from the donations, foreign aid, or from the IMF and the World Bank. And later on, the nation have to face the price in form of price hiking, increasing in taxes. However, the present government is committed to return the foreign debt as quickly as possible and slow down the pressure. But it requires a complete political will and consensus by all the parties, all the stakeholders, be it the government establishment or the political leadership. Well, now jump to some of the other major projects in Pakistan. They are the motorways, functional motorways in Pakistan. M1 Peshawar to Islamabad motorway, completely functional. M2 Lahore to Islamabad motorway. M3 Lahore to Abdul Hakim motorway. Pindi Bhattiyan Multan motorway. M5 Multan Sakhar motorway. M9 Karachi Hyderabad motorway. M10 Karachi Northern bypass motorways. These motorways now are the very important sources of communication and transportation, and they have connected even the far-flung areas to the major land, especially the motorways connecting to Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi, Gwadar, and routes connected to CPAC are going to be very vital in the coming years in the national economy. Well, other scheme that was the 1122, it was started in October 14, 2004. Now it has completed 15 years. It is serving the humanity, providing emergency services in time of war, accidents, fire. This program was started by Dr. Rizwan Nasir with the support of Chief Minister of Punjab Parvez Ilahi at that time. Now it is functioning in this 36 districts of Punjab fully, and also uh, this program is extended to other provinces of Pakistan, and they have a good size of the rescuers. Fine. Well, then after this, another mega project of the country, laptop scheme, started in 2013 by the Prime Minister. The major objectives were to provide facilities to the students in research, finding materials online, uh, and then we have the Benazir Income Support Program intended to provide help to the poor and needy people to purchase at least the basic commodities. Started in 2008, fine, and then Billion Trees Tsunami Project launched in the year 2014 by the by the KPK government, especially the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is the leading major contributor. Well, dear students, these projects are a case for you that you should read about these projects, their costs, and their impact on the lives of people critically, so that you may understand that these projects, whatever they are contributing in the economic and the social development of the country. Hope you have understood. Thank you very much.